The moment you begin to understand that you are a chosen one, a sense of urgency floods your spirit in ways that ordinary life cannot explain. This is not about fear or paranoia, but about the unmistakable clarity that comes when divine timing intersects with human awareness. For many, life moves in patterns that feel repetitive and predictable, as if the universe itself is simply passing time. But for those who are chosen, the rhythms are different. The warnings arrive not as vague suggestions but as unmistakable alerts that pierce the ordinary noise of daily existence. It begins subtly, often with dreams that linger longer than normal, thoughts that refuse to leave you, or feelings that something critical is approaching. These are not random events, and they are not coincidences. They are the early signs that a season of urgency has begun, and they are meant to prepare you. You feel the weight of time differently, as though each passing day carries consequences far greater than what you could have imagined. There is a heaviness in your chest, a sense that what you do today will echo in eternity, and this is the divine nudge that demands attention. Many chosen ones ignore these feelings at first, dismissing them as stress, fatigue, or coincidence. They convince themselves that life is simply testing them, or that perhaps they are reading too much into ordinary events. Yet, as the days progress, the signs grow stronger, more persistent, and more impossible to overlook. They may appear as synchronistic encounters, people appearing and disappearing at precise moments, or sudden shifts in circumstances that seem orchestrated by an invisible hand. These experiences are not meant to intimidate you, but to awaken you to the reality that a higher power is actively guiding your path. The urgency comes from the fact that the window of opportunity is often narrower than we perceive. In many cases, divine timing is precise, and delay can result in lost blessings, missed alignments, or prolonged struggles that could have been avoided. The universe, guided by divine wisdom, operates on a timetable that does not bend to human hesitation. Therefore, understanding that you are chosen is not merely a label or a title, it is a responsibility. The responsibility to notice, to act, and to move in harmony with the guidance being offered to you. Ignoring this sense of urgency can lead to regret, a form of sorrow that gnaws at the soul because it is born from awareness that one has overlooked what was obvious to the spirit. The chosen one is not meant to live in ignorance, even if ignorance feels safer. The moment of awakening can be disorienting. You may find yourself questioning relationships, jobs, or routines that once felt comfortable. You may feel a pull away from familiar environments or a desire to pursue paths that others cannot understand. These sensations are not errors or whims, they are signals from the divine urging you to align with a higher purpose. The clarity that comes with this recognition is not always accompanied by immediate answers. Often, the path forward remains veiled, requiring faith, patience, and a willingness to trust that every step, even when uncertain, is part of a larger plan. This period of heightened awareness can also bring a sense of isolation. You may notice that few around you can relate to the intensity of what you are feeling. Friends and family may dismiss your insights or suggest that you are imagining significance where there is none. The challenge, however, is not to convince others but to remain vigilant and faithful in following the nudges you receive. The chosen one's journey is inherently personal, a path that demands attentiveness to subtle cues and a willingness to act without external validation. The urgency is compounded by the fact that opportunities aligned with divine purpose often appear fleeting. Doors open for a reason and close just as quickly, leaving those who hesitate behind, watching from a distance as others walk through. Each decision, each moment of attentiveness, can shift the trajectory of life in profound ways. Recognizing the signs requires discernment, an ability to differentiate between ordinary distractions and genuine divine signals. This discernment is cultivated through spiritual practice, reflection, and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths. There may be times when fear rises, when the pressure feels overwhelming, or when the unknown threatens to paralyze action. Yet these moments are precisely when vigilance matters most. The urgency is not arbitrary, it is a signal that the stakes are high, that what you choose to notice and act upon has consequences far beyond the immediate moment. The chosen one learns to navigate life with a heightened sense of awareness, understanding that every interaction, every thought, and every decision carries weight. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when viewed through this lens, and mundane experiences take on profound significance. Signs may appear in the form of repeated numbers, sudden insights, or encounters that feel orchestrated beyond human understanding. Even seemingly negative events can carry a purpose, guiding the chosen one toward alignment, testing resolve, and refining faith. Understanding the season of urgency means accepting that life will no longer operate according to past patterns. Familiar comforts may no longer serve you, and routines that once provided security may now feel restrictive. The divine call often requires adaptation, courage, and a willingness to step into uncertainty. This is not a punishment, but an elevation, a preparation for what is meant to come. The chosen one is invited to cultivate attentiveness, to listen closely to inner guidance, and to act decisively when prompted. Delay, hesitation, or distraction can result in regret, the silent acknowledgement that a chance to walk fully into destiny was overlooked. The urgency is persistent, repeating in different forms, reminding you that time is not infinite and that alignment with purpose cannot wait. It is a call to wakefulness, a call to awareness, a call to live consciously in every moment as though eternity itself depends on your choices. Each breath, each decision, each subtle insight becomes an instrument for navigating the path that has been set before you. The awareness that you are chosen transforms the ordinary into a landscape of signs and opportunities, each requiring attention, discernment, and faith. It is the awakening to the fact that your life is interwoven with a larger plan, a narrative that moves beyond personal desires and into the realm of divine orchestration. You may feel tension between what is comfortable and what is required, between the known and the unknown, but this tension is the space where growth, alignment, and destiny converge. The season of urgency compels the chosen one to step forward, to observe with clarity, and to act with courage, recognizing that each decision carries potential that extends far beyond the immediate horizon. The divine signals, persistent and unmistakable, demand a response, a recognition that life is not a series of coincidences but a series of orchestrated moments designed to guide, shape, and elevate the chosen one in ways that are both profound and necessary. Spiritual blindness is one of the most subtle yet dangerous conditions that can affect a chosen one. It is not something that appears overnight, but rather a slow, almost imperceptible fog that creeps over the soul, clouding discernment and dulling intuition. Those who are spiritually blind often move through life believing that everything they see and experience is all there is, failing to recognize the layers of meaning that exist beyond the physical. For the chosen one, this state can be catastrophic, because awareness is the key that unlocks alignment with divine purpose. Spiritual awareness is not merely a concept, it is an active, dynamic state of being in which the soul remains alert to subtle cues, to signs and symbols that point toward destiny. The difference between blindness and awareness can determine whether one flourishes or falters. Being aware requires a sensitivity that often feels uncomfortable. It means listening to inner nudges, paying attention to recurring patterns, and interpreting events with a depth that others may overlook. Awareness demands patience, reflection, and sometimes solitude, because the signals from the divine rarely come in loud, obvious ways. Instead, they arrive as whispers, subtle impressions, or feelings that tug at the heart without a clear explanation. Many chosen ones face resistance from within. Doubt and fear arise, convincing the individual that these impressions are merely imagination, wishful thinking, or coincidence. Society itself can reinforce blindness, rewarding conformity and skepticism while discouraging intuition and spiritual attentiveness. Yet the consequences of ignoring these signals are profound. Opportunities for growth, protection, and alignment can pass unnoticed. Doors that open for those who are attentive may remain closed to those who look away. The consequences of spiritual blindness are not always immediate, but they accumulate over time, creating a subtle drift from the intended path. Awareness, on the other hand, is like a lens that sharpens perception, revealing connections and meaning that would otherwise remain hidden. The chosen one who cultivates the state begins to notice patterns in relationships, experiences, and even nature itself. They recognize that events do not occur randomly but are often orchestrated to guide, test, and prepare. This heightened perception allows the chosen one to act decisively, to make choices that honor their purpose, and to avoid pitfalls that could derail progress. There is also a moral dimension to awareness. When you are awake to the spiritual currents around you, you are more responsible for your actions. Ignorance may shield someone from accountability, but awareness demands integrity, courage, and discernment. Spiritual blindness often manifests as distraction, a preoccupation with the superficial aspects of life while missing the deeper currents. This can take the form of pursuing material gain without purpose, maintaining relationships that drain rather than elevate, or ignoring repetitive signs that are meant to redirect attention. The subtle danger lies in the fact that the chosen one may not even realize they are blind until consequences force recognition. When awareness finally dawns, it can feel like emerging from a fog into sharp, piercing light, and the sense of urgency becomes undeniable. Awareness is cultivated through intentional practices, discipline, and receptivity. Meditation, prayer, reflection, and study can attune the mind and heart to the signals that are always present but easily overlooked. Silence is often required to hear what is not said, to sense what is not visible. Distractions, busyness, and noise are the enemies of awareness, because they mask the quiet nudges that guide the chosen one. Spiritual growth is often uncomfortable because awareness exposes gaps, weaknesses, and areas that require correction. It confronts pride, selfishness, and complacency, demanding that the individual adapt, refine, and evolve. Yet this discomfort is necessary. It is part of the sharpening process that ensures alignment with purpose. There is a profound difference between intellectual knowledge and spiritual awareness. One can study scripture, philosophy, or mystical texts and yet remain blind if the heart and soul do not actively engage with the messages being received. Awareness is experiential. It is the practice of noticing, interpreting, and responding with intentionality. It is the application of insight to action, understanding that divine guidance requires both recognition and obedience. The tension between blindness and awareness is constant in the life of the chosen one. There are moments of clarity followed by periods of confusion, as the soul wrestles with human limitations, emotional challenges, and external pressures. Recognizing this tension is part of the process, because it reveals the areas where vigilance must be strengthened. The spiritual path is rarely linear. Tests, delays, and setbacks are designed to refine perception, to force the chosen one to distinguish between superficial appearances and deeper truths. Spiritual blindness cannot be overcome by passive wishing or hoping. It requires conscious engagement, discipline, and a willingness to face uncomfortable realities. The stakes are high because the consequences of remaining blind are not just personal, they ripple outward, affecting relationships, opportunities, and alignment with the divine plan. Conversely, cultivating awareness allows the chosen one to navigate life with precision, to recognize traps before they ensnare, and to step into opportunities at precisely the right moment. Awareness is also a protective mechanism. Those who are alert to spiritual currents are less likely to fall victim to deception, manipulation, or misalignment. They sense danger before it fully manifests, recognize false guidance, and discern the true intentions of people and situations. This sensitivity is both a gift and a responsibility, because it requires constant maintenance, attention, and a refusal to grow complacent. Awareness grows stronger through practice and repetition. The chosen one learns to distinguish between ordinary coincidences and meaningful synchronicities. They learn to trust the inner voice that speaks in subtle tones and to act upon it with courage, even when the path seems uncertain. The contrast between blindness and awareness can also be seen in decision-making. The blind may delay, second-guess, or ignore critical prompts, while the aware recognize the urgency of timing and respond decisively. Each choice, in turn, reinforces either alignment or misalignment with the divine purpose. Spiritual awareness transforms ordinary life into a tapestry of meaningful connections, hidden lessons, and guided opportunities. What may appear as random challenges or encounters is recognized as a carefully orchestrated series of events designed to elevate, refine, and direct the chosen one toward fulfillment. Without this awareness, life can feel chaotic, overwhelming, and futile. With it, even the most difficult circumstances take on clarity, revealing purpose in every struggle, guidance in every sign, and alignment in every step. The cultivation of awareness is not a one-time event but a continuous process. The chosen one must remain vigilant, discerning, and responsive, understanding that spiritual currents shift, challenges evolve, and guidance arrives in forms that may be unexpected. This active engagement with the unseen ensures that blindness does not take hold, that clarity remains, and that destiny can be pursued with confidence, courage, and precision. Obedience, alignment, and the consequences of ignoring divine signs form the very foundation of the chosen one's journey. From the moment the spirit awakens to its purpose, it becomes clear that life is not a series of random events but a carefully orchestrated sequence in which every choice carries weight. Obedience is not about blind submission or fear-driven compliance, it is the conscious act of responding to guidance, intuition, and spiritual nudges with attentiveness and action. The chosen one quickly realizes that the universe communicates through subtle cues, opportunities, and shifts in circumstance. These signals are not always loud or dramatic, they often appear as gentle nudges, feelings of discomfort, or recurring patterns that demand notice. Obedience, in this context, is the willingness to act when these signals arrive, even if the path is unclear, inconvenient, or challenges deeply held assumptions. Alignment is the natural companion of obedience. It is the state in which actions, intentions, and thoughts harmonize with the divine plan. When a chosen one is aligned, doors open that once seemed locked, synchronicities emerge, and clarity pervades decision-making. Misalignment, however, brings friction, delay, and missed opportunities. Life begins to feel heavy, relationships become strained, and success becomes elusive, not because of a lack of effort, but because effort applied out of harmony with purpose cannot yield the intended result. The consequences of ignoring these signs can be subtle at first, appearing as repeated setbacks, confusion, or internal unrest. These experiences serve as warnings, gentle attempts to redirect attention before more significant consequences arise. Yet for many, the human tendency toward comfort, fear, or doubt causes these nudges to be dismissed. We convince ourselves that the timing is wrong, that the message is unclear, or that we can afford to wait. But divine timing is precise, and hesitation often comes at a cost. When obedience is delayed, the chosen one may find doors closing that were once open, opportunities slipping away that cannot be reclaimed. The universe rarely repeats the same chance in the same form, and each ignored sign carries a ripple effect that can alter the trajectory of life. This is not meant to instill fear but to cultivate awareness, responsibility, and vigilance. The journey of the chosen one is inherently sacred, a path designed to maximize potential, impact, and fulfillment. Compliance with divine guidance is a demonstration of trust, faith, and humility. It requires surrendering personal preferences, doubts, or attachments in order to step into the flow of a higher plan. Alignment requires attentiveness not only to external circumstances but to the internal state of the soul. It demands self-reflection, discernment, and the courage to confront aspects of oneself that resist change, comfort, or growth. Spiritual maturity emerges when the chosen one recognizes that obedience is not a one-time act but a lifestyle, a continuous practice of listening, interpreting, and acting upon divine cues. Each moment, each choice, and each opportunity becomes a test of attentiveness and integrity. The consequences of neglecting this practice are cumulative. Ignoring a single sign may seem harmless, but repeated inattention builds a pattern that can obscure purpose, distort perception, and invite unnecessary struggle. The chosen one begins to understand that suffering is often the result not of punishment but of misalignment. Life becomes a mirror, reflecting the gaps between intent and action, awareness and negligence. Conversely, embracing obedience and alignment produces results that appear miraculous to the untrained eye. Situations unfold with precision, relationships fall into place with ease, and opportunities emerge exactly when needed. This harmony is not the product of luck, coincidence, or personal effort alone, it is the natural outcome of responding faithfully to guidance and living in accordance with a higher purpose. Yet the path is not always linear or predictable. The chosen one will encounter tests, challenges, and distractions designed to measure commitment, resolve, and discernment. These experiences are part of the refining process, separating superficial compliance from true alignment. It is easy to obey when the path is smooth, but genuine obedience is proven in the face of difficulty, doubt, and delay. Alignment requires sacrifice, humility, and vigilance. It requires letting go of attachments, habits, or relationships that hinder progress, even when doing so is painful or counterintuitive. The chosen one learns to trust that the discomfort of change is temporary, while the consequences of ignoring guidance can be lasting. Every step taken in obedience strengthens intuition, clarifies purpose, and deepens connection with the divine. Conversely, every step taken in defiance or neglect amplifies uncertainty, friction, and misalignment. The consequences of ignoring signs extend beyond personal setbacks, they affect the energy one carries, the influence one has on others, and the capacity to fulfill the unique role assigned by the divine. Obedience, therefore, is not a matter of convenience but a critical necessity. It is the lifeline that keeps the chosen one on course, the bridge between potential and fulfillment, the mechanism through which destiny manifests. Spiritual alignment ensures that choices are amplified, actions are effective, and the impact of the chosen one resonates beyond immediate circumstances. It transforms ordinary decisions into acts of purpose, challenges into lessons, and relationships into instruments of growth and support. Each ignored sign, each delay in obedience, becomes a subtle blockage that accumulates over time, obscuring clarity and limiting the effectiveness of effort. The chosen one must cultivate a discipline of attentiveness, sensitivity, and prompt action, recognizing that divine guidance rarely waits for comfort, approval, or certainty. The consequences of neglect are not always immediate or obvious, but they are real, and they shape the course of life with quiet persistence. Obedience and alignment are inseparable. One cannot truly be aligned without responding faithfully to guidance, and one cannot maintain obedience without understanding the broader context of purpose. Together, they form the framework for navigating the complex and often challenging terrain of being chosen. Awareness without action is ineffective, and action without awareness is misdirected. The chosen one is called to bridge this gap, to live in a state of responsiveness that honors both the signs received and the responsibilities entrusted. This is not a path for the complacent, the passive, or the indifferent. It is a path that requires courage, persistence, and humility. It is a journey of continuous learning, reflection, and refinement. The chosen one discovers that the cost of obedience is far less than the cost of neglect, and that alignment produces a flow in life that is unmistakably divine. Every decision, every moment of attentiveness, every act of faithful response reinforces connection to purpose, opens doors, and solidifies the path toward destiny. Through obedience, alignment, and careful attention to signs, the chosen one navigates life with precision, clarity, and impact, understanding that each act carries weight and that divine timing is always in motion.